Johnny, let's go!
Yeah. Welcome to the Far Left Show, we break it down, zooming through political news in the lockdown, talking to people, solving issues. These are the kinds of views you won't see on your news. Stick around the show, cause things could get crazy. We even have chihuahuas named Dougie and Daisy. We're called the Far Left to scare the neoliberals, but interview candidates from primary to general. We're the Far Left, break it down, come and join us here and now. Johnny, Daisy, Natalie, Dougie, talk issues affecting this country. We're the Far Left, break it down, come and join us here and now. Johnny, Daisy, Natalie, Dougie, talk issues starting now.
Awesome. So we are here with Dr. Rocio Rivas, who's running for LAUSD, Los Angeles School Board. And we're really excited to be here with you. I know you're getting out the vote, and it's the election's taking place in 2 weeks. The ballots have already dropped. So just tell us, what seat you're running for specifically, maybe what that area covers, and welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Johnny. I'm grateful to be here on this the Far Left Show. That's awesome. I like the name of it. So yeah, I'm Rocio Rivas. I'm running for Board District 2, and Board District 2 has been redistricted. So it looks different than it did a year ago. So basically Board District 2 covers, like, it's right in the middle of the city. So it goes from unincorporated cities like El Sereno, City Terrace, East LA, Boyle Heights, and it goes all the way up to like Chinatown, Little Tokyo, downtown, and then it picks up Westlake, Pico Union, like MacArthur Park area, a little bit of Koreatown, East Hollywood, and then it connects to Los Feliz. Okay. And then it encompasses Highland Park and Cypress Park, and I live in Montecito, Lincoln Heights area. Mm-hmm. So it's a big board district, and it's, it has different communities. Have low income communities, high income communities. We have different ethnic and races, cultures, and it's just beautiful. I've had a wonderful, experience just canvassing and meeting so many beautiful people. So yeah.
Wow, that is a really big part of LA. That's pretty incredible. And actually, on that note, I saw something online the other day where it was like, guess the most expensive race in LA happening right now, and you would think it'd be like the mayoral race, like that would be my guess, but it's actually the seat you're running for. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, like why do you think it's the most expensive race, and just kind of your experience with like the financial side, I guess. Yeah, if you want to talk to that.
Yeah, that's I'm glad you bring that up. I mean, this has been the agenda, I guess you can say, to privatize public education, right? I don't want to go into the whole history of it, but there is an agenda, and basically this is these millions of dollars that are going into school board races. The first one, really, the big one, was when Nick Melvoin ran against Zimmer, and so basically there's an agenda to change how public education is run. So this is a very neoliberalist, corporatist, market-based reforms. So, the belief out there by the, I guess, conservatives, right-wing neoliberalists, is that public institutions like our schools can be better run as a corporation. It's more efficient, it's cost-effective, and it will bring the results, right? However, before I go there, so this is why the billionaires are really pumping a lot of money into the candidates that will do that or believe in that. And so in the past couple of years, a lot of like Bloomberg and Bill Bloomfield, Reed Hastings, the Waltons, they are part, they've been putting a lot of their money into these races because they want these candidates. It just basically that's what it is, just to change how our schools are, functioning. And also it's anti-union, and it's really aiming to deprofessionalize teachers. So basically this, this field of thought of this ideology is that anybody can teach, anyone can come and be an instructor. It's like very technocratic, but that's not what education is. Education is not that. It's about pedagogy. It's about the mind and reaching. Everyone's different, and I'm running for that because I believe that public education should remain in the hands of the public, and that education should not ever be for profit. Yeah. Like my child's education is not for profit. So yeah. So Absolutely. This is why there's so much money in these candidates.
Yes. And we have to out ourselves. We're actually Teach for America alumni, and we taught at charter schools. And so I know exactly what you're saying. We had no unions, majority, extremely high turnover, teachers very underpaid, and I think at the schools that we taught at, I taught at 2 different schools, and I can speak specifically from my own experience. The culture of the administration listening to the teachers, that wasn't there. And, teachers would try to voice, their opinions, or especially this was during COVID. A lot of the precautions that were necessary at the time were just not they didn't care, really, the administration. And so I know exactly what you're saying. I think the students deserve so much better. And so we actually ended up, leaving and being very adamantly against the whole charter school system. So we were very naive going into that. So
no, and that's what they do. What they do with this neoliberals, they repackage justice. They say these public institutions have failed you. They have to go. But you know what? This same status quo made them fail. They underinvested in public schools. As soon as 1955, as soon as integration started, this is where school choice, this racist notion that I have a right to send my kids where I want them. I don't want them to be with Black and brown. That's when that started. So I almost got into TFA when I graduated from UC Berkeley because I wanted to be a teacher. I fell in love with education. And TFA, I was like, oh, what is this TFA? So it started in a very benevolent way. But the thing is, it got co-opted, or maybe it was already that intention, by this change. It got co-opted, it got changed, and then it became what it is now. Very corporate based. If you go to New Orleans, it's TFA, and teachers have left. It's just very sad. It's like basically it creates educational apartheid. It just really resegregates, but in a very deep level. That it makes people just, it creates a mass of ignorance, right? And not knowing what to do. And that's what this creates. And this is just like, I saw this when I traveled around the world and I was learning about these policies, about the IMF and the World Bank and how privatization is just going around. I was like, wait a minute, why is this happening? Why are we allowing this to happen? Yeah. And the thing is that we don't know. We believe in this repackaging of educational justice. So basically what this phenomenon that we're experiencing is repackaging and saying, hey, why don't you be part of your own exploitation? You know what I mean? They don't, they repackage it. So we think we're doing good, that we're getting rid of these institutions that are not working. But the thing is that systemic racism and poverty and just, whatever the status quo, what they plan on doing is what made these public institutions fail.
Yeah.
So,
and I wanted to talk about, because you mentioned like this ignorance that's being perpetuated. And I wanted to talk specifically about your opponent and the mailers that they're sending out, because we get more mail from Maria Brenes than anyone else. I mean, our mailbox is full of this stuff, right? How many flyers do you think?
Well, there was like one time I checked the mail and it was literally like 3 from her.
Yeah.
And it was, a lot of it was attacking you and actually about, saying stuff about how you're anti-charter, you want to like throw these kids out of schools, you want to like have the teachers lose their jobs, which is obviously not the intention. It's everything that you just talked about right now. But,
yeah. And I wanted to mention something from our website that I think is really hypocritical. She mentioned Maria is committed to being a role model to her children and students. That's why she made an oath to stay on a moral high ground. This means messages coming directly from Maria, staff, and communications will never spread lies, hateful attacks, or misinformation. And so I wanted to talk about this mailer because this one's funny to me. And is this okay? I know this is really throwing this at you, but I think it cracks me up. You've seen this probably, right?
Oh, I have not seen that.
Okay, so I'm sorry, it's a little difficult to see on here, but
It's okay.
it's like a comparison, right, between Maria and Rocio. And the Maria side is in color. For some reason, your picture's in black and white. I don't know if they're trying to send a subconscious message there, but let's stick to the ideas. So is it okay if I read this to you and you respond to it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the first one is closing schools. It says Rocio Rivas and her downtown special interests want to close many, if not all, public charter schools in LAUSD, despite the fact that they serve 20% of all public school students, mostly Latino, and are among the highest performing schools in the district. Closing them would be catastrophic to tens of thousands of students who would lose their schools and teachers would lose their jobs. So what are these downtown special interests that want to close down schools? What is that all about?
I have no idea what these downtown people are. Who are they? I would love to meet them. No, I don't want to meet them. I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
So that is blatantly a lie. Every time I have mentioned that low performing charter schools definitely have to be closed. And this is based on Assembly Bill 1505, which provided charter school authorizers like LAUSD to really look at the low performing charter schools. Either there were two things that authorizers can do: give them 2 more years to address, all the, the low performance or low teacher turnout or whatever area in their charter is not up to par. You give them 2 years, and after 2 years, if they have not addressed the issues, then they have to revoke their charter. The other option that authorizers have is just to close it. They have the right to just close it because the charter school is performing even below LAUSD charter school, LAUSD in the neighborhood public schools, and is not offering anything better. So that charter school has to close. Mm-hmm. A lot of charter schools have like 100 students. They have very low number enrollment of students. Those charter schools have fiscal implications to, that they need to address, because if you have that many a number of students, eventually charter schools, when they're in the red, when they're not making a profit, they close. Mm-hmm. And they can just close within a week or 2 weeks. I've seen that personally. In the Eagle Rock, they closed the school. A lot of the parents did not even know, and they show up and the school is closed. And some parents knew something was going on because those are the parents that were very active and were asking questions, and they left before the school closed because they knew something was going on. Is the parents, the working class parents, the parents who will, drop off their child and believe that this charter school, is going to do right by their child, and then they close. I mean, there's so many things that charter schools have done that are not okay, and the public does not know that. Okay, so my intention is not to close charter schools, all of them. No. I'm here to keep them accountable. I'm here to keep them transparent, because the charter school industry wants to be unregulated. They don't want any checks and balances. They want to run like a business, right? So a business, when they want to make their own decisions, they don't want external regulations or standards to tell them what to do. Yeah. Also, at charter schools, there's a high turnover rate of teachers. Mm-hmm. So these teachers will have jobs. LAUSD will welcome them back. I will make sure that the district is addressing their hiring processes, because I know they lag. I've spoken to a lot of my friends who want to be teachers, but the district just takes forever. Even just for subbing. My friend, like 6 months ago, applied, and she finally was able to get. She's so happy. She felt so worthy that she could help. Right. Anyway. Yeah. High performing charter schools have the cream of the students. the top students and they always focus on testing. That is what the charter schools, and then if a student is not testing up to their standards, they will cancel that child out. And that has happened. A lot of our neighborhood public schools, right before testing starts, a lot of students start coming in from charter schools, particularly special education students, because they have been canceled out because they are not going to produce the scores that these charter schools really use it to market themselves.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not here to close schools. I want to keep them accountable. We do have these two systems. Both systems have to be accountable to our communities. However, the charter school industry is very unregulated, and there's a lot of scandals that have erupted nationwide and also here in LA from charter schools. And I've spoken to so many parents who say, we didn't know who to go to. We had an issue at a charter school, but we did not know, who to go to. Well, you know what? You can come to me and I can help you. Right? So no, I cannot legally close charter schools. The only ones are the low performing charter schools, and me alone, I can't. There are other 6 board members. There has to be the majority. Yeah. So myself, I don't have that power. So that statement is completely false.
Fear mongering, and it's going very low, even though she said that she would not. And I completely support what you said about, holding the charter schools accountable, because I guess she does not want to do that.
I'm sorry, really quick. Does it say who paid for this? Is it SEIU or Bill Bloomfield?
Paid for by Kids First, supporting Gelly Gomez, Nick Melvoin, and Maria Brenes. Committee major funding from Bill Bloomfield and Reed Hastings.
There you go.
Can you see who they are?
Those are billionaires. Those are the 2 billionaires out of so many that really want to change the structure of the school board. They want people to be appointed, and those just like charter school board of directors are all appointed. They appoint the people who will say yes, and who's a parent representative, but that's a parent who's probably getting paid, and then so that's one of those are the billionaires who want to change. So that is their lies about me. Right. And they are charter school industry. So how is Maria Brenes going to keep the charter school industry? And she's mentioned that she is for a moratorium and charter school is this, but she's being funded by these billionaires. There's no way she's going to go against what they want her to do.
And those are the most special interests that you can find here in this country. I mean, seriously. So.
As far as I know, those are the downtown LA people that she's working with, not me.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
The tables
Let's
around.
go to the second one. Yeah. Fighting for downtown bureaucrats. Okay, this one's kind of funny. So Rocio Rivas is a highly paid LAUSD bureaucrat with 0 experience in the classroom. She's backed by millions of dollars of downtown special interest money from groups who want to close down local public schools and lay off teachers. So that's the same kind of attack. But what do they mean by bureaucrat? Can we talk a bit about that?
Well, I think they were really digging into, I remember I worked in policy.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
No, I'm a researcher. I'm not a bureaucrat. I'm a researcher. I was hired in 2004 by LAUSD, and I was independent researcher. I was going to charter schools and doing charter school evaluations. I was part of 2 research studies on the academic achievement of Latino students, and the other one is culturally relevant education in African American classrooms. I was in the classrooms. I learned from teachers. As a researcher, I am observing. I'm taking down everything that's going on in the classroom. I go home or my office or whatever, and I analyze all of that data. That is data that is based in the classroom. I'm not a bureaucrat. I'm a researcher, policy analyst, and program evaluator. No, I'm here to fix bureaucracies, but I'm not a bureaucrat.
And I think it's also funny because she's calling you a highly paid bureaucrat, and yet she wants to work. She wants to be a school board member. I mean, to me, it's hypocritical because that's inherently sort of a bureaucratic job. Not saying that it's a bad job, you know what I mean? But it's like ironic to me.
And highly paid, what does she mean by that? I'm living paycheck by paycheck every day. Like I'm barely making ends meet.
Yeah.
So highly paid bureaucrat. I see they're just throwing these words in there, but nothing to back it up. I mean, where are they getting all this information from?
And,
Even highly paid, I was like, wow, they're making me sound like something. I don't know.
and I think to me it shows like the disdain that they can't even hide for the public sphere. In my opinion, calling people bureaucrats, like it's just to me it's painting a public figure or someone who works in public work just as like corrupt inherently.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to go to the third one, questionable endorsements, and to me this one was actually pretty interesting. Rivas is endorsed by a radical right-wing school board member who invested in tobacco companies and voted to deny local Black and Latino parents access to high-quality schools. And to this day, Rivas has refused to denounce him.
What? Denounce him?
Denounce him.
Denounce him. Board members. Okay, so what board members? I'm supported by Dr. McKenna, African American principal. He is highly respected. Don't think that's him, right? Mr. Scott Schmelson, and he was attacked viciously when he ran 2 years ago. It was very anti-Semitic by these same billionaires, the same ones who are supporting Brenes are the same ones that attacked him just ugly. You don't even want to repeat what they said, or even the memes they were sending out about him. And then the next one is Jackie Goldberg. Is she the radical? And she's a she. And Jackie Goldberg is a public servant, the most honest public servant I have ever met. And she has always stood right by the people. She started at UC Berkeley against denouncing the war in Vietnam. She was out there very, very courageous. She is an iconic person. She has served on the school board. She served on city council. She served on the assembly. She is a person of integrity, and I will always stand by her because she is a role model to me. And I have worked for her for 3.5 years, and through her, I see what a great board member can do and the positive changes that can come from somebody who's dedicated. And she was a teacher. I forget to say that. She was a teacher, okay, for, I think she was a teacher for over 20 years before she even ran. I'm sorry, I know she's mentioned it so many times, I forgot now how many years. But she, first and foremost, she was a teacher, and that's where she ran for a school board. So right there, that statement, they muddled so many things. I think they brought in something about Mr. Schmelson. They brought in something about Jackie. I don't know if they even brought in something about Mr. Dr. McKenna, and then just created that I'm working for a radical. I mean, it's just amazing what lies they conjure up by creating something that is not real at all. And then if anything, it should be the opposite. Ms. Brenes, I really, the people that she has been associating with are the same ones that have been our LA has demanded their resignation. Nuri Martinez was endorsed Maria Brenes. Kevin De Leon endorsed Maria Brenes, and they are the ones who are just vicious and vile, and they endorse, so they turn the tables and say, no, it's not Maria, it's her. She's the bad one.
Right.
She also received an endorsement, was it from the Los Angeles Labor Federation, which their president, Ron Herrera, was also on those controversial leaks, specifically talking about how to massage districts or sort of gerrymander, to be honest, in a way to disenfranchise Black voters, renters, even Huaqueños, poor Latinos, everybody, just for the gain of Nuri and Kevin and these people at the top. So it seems like to me, the special interests are all backing, Maria Brenes on this. And so I was wondering, did you want to ask some?
Well, I just wanted to add a comment and then you can ask a question. But I think also, speaking of endorsements, you're endorsed by UTLA, which is a huge flex to put like on your flyers and stuff. I love that you've been like really putting that out there, because I think that's so telling who UTLA endorses as well.
Yeah. For me, being endorsed by UTLA is the trust that teachers have in me, that I'm going to be their voice and fight for them. But see, UTLA now is turning into a union that unions should be. They're not, the teachers union is not just concerned about their own wages and their own working conditions. They care for their students. They want the best for their students. And they understand that in order for their students, our children, to be able to be there present in the classroom is if their families are well, right? If their families have affordable housing, if their families have the resources that they need so they can have a stable life, then that child and that student is going to go to school without the anxiety or the stress that comes from, the communities that we live in, and then so the whole Beyond Recovery platform that they're really pushing forward and demanding that the district really address it, has mental health supports, has addressing charter school industry, right? And also has having more nurses and counselors and librarians. And that is my platform, that our schools have to be fully staffed and fully funded. If we're fully staffed, that means we have a full-time librarian there, and librarians are so essential. That we have we have a nurse, so that our administrative assistants don't have to address all the boo-boos of our children, right? We have a nurse who can address that, and she can focus on matriculating new students, addressing the operations, the budget of the schools. Every single employee in our schools is essential, from the bus driver to the cafeteria worker to the plant manager, and I'm fighting for every single one. So I know that there's some are saying, "Oh, she's only for the teachers." No, I'm for everyone. If we're fighting for our teachers, I'm fighting for every single person in that school. So it means a lot to me to be endorsed by UTLA and California School Employees Association, which are very essential employees in our district, in our schools.
Yeah.
We're getting towards the end of our questions here, but I wanted to ask you, are there any other policies or any other specific things that you wanted to share with us, just about your race or about what you would do as a school board member?
Yeah. Yes, I do want to mention that, as I mentioned, Beyond Recovery platform, I'm here to support all of that. But one key thing that I really want to do is, I know that our schools can begin to create the society we want to create. It's just, we all have to come together to the table. And that society is an anti-racist, compassionate, restorative, and healing, right? And it starts in our schools. If our children grow up with mental health issues, if they don't heal, then they grow up with adults with mental health issues. And that is a cycle that is perpetuated. So our schools have to have those supports. We have to transform our schools into healing spaces. And we have to green our schools. That means bringing gardens in, outdoor spaces, trees. I mean, that in and of itself would want to motivate that child to want to go to school. We have to motivate them. We have to bring color and life and thriving, dynamics in our classrooms. But if we have a district that says, you must do it like this, we don't have money for that, sorry, that is unacceptable. Our district has to be a real advocate, a leader in advocacy for all the students, not just give us the money so we can operate this institution. Is like, no, give us money so we can create schools that can thrive our cities and our neighborhoods. And that's what I'm running. And I've held on to this vision since I was at UC Berkeley as a teaching assistant in a preschool. And I was like, we can do that. But the politics and the corruption and these billionaires and this agenda to change our schools to what they are not. They are not corporations. They are not here to create a very exploitive society. I mean, if we have a group of individuals who don't have access or empowering their mind with information, that they're always going to be a slave to work, a slave to the status quo. And that's what I want to change. I want to address that, I don't know, that agenda is going to just change who we are as a people. And I don't think that's correct. And what I can do is I can stand up for our public schools, and I can stand up for our teachers, and I can stand up for our children. And that's my part. And that's why I'm running.
And I wanted to say, so on your website, we like to read these websites, and it says Dr. Rivas is an avid reader, collects art and iconography, featuring Frida Kahlo, loves to cook, bake, spend time with their wonderful son. Your hobbies all sound awesome, but I wanted to ask you, like, how does your relationship with your son specifically impact, like, sort of your passion for being a school board member, or having this impact on schools? I wanted to hear a bit about that.
Oh man, my son, he's right next door. He's everything. When as soon as I've always wanted to be a mom, right? Always, and I just could not wait to be a mom. And when I had my son, I was a full-time mom, and I just devoted myself to him. Um, and as I devoted myself to him, I connected to all the mothers, raising their children and wanting the best. And every single parent wants the best. My mom still is like, I'm still her little daughter, right? She wants the best for me. And then, when you become a parent, I know it's a cliche and they say it all the time, but your worldview changes.
Mhm.
And so, I knew all of this that we talked about, and I said, you know what? You have to be active out there. You have to, be a part of the solution, because your son is going to go out into that world. And what do you want for him? And what do you want for all the children out there? So for him, when I had him, it just really changed myself. And when he started LAUSD in preschool, that's when I immersed myself back into what I love, which is public education. And that's when I learned of all this stuff that's happening locally. And I said, oh no, I got to stand up for this. So really, he's been part of this whole journey. I mean, I have a very honest and very communicative relationship with my son, because I want to change the way we parent. We have to be conscious parents. So I was really into conscious parenting, changing that cycle about, how the wrong ways of parenting, where you're punishing and you're hitting and you're like saying, you listen to me. You have no choice. You don't know. You're just a child. It's like, no, our children come already with their innate personalities. It is us as parents to help nurture that personality to come out, not to like stop it or change our child because becoming for something we don't want them to become. I was like, no, we have to understand how to raise our child. And when I was a community rep, I gave workshops on conscious parenting and growth mindset and intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. And parents are like, wow, I never thought about parenting in this way. And that's because, when we become parents, nobody gives us a guideline. We have to learn ourselves. And a lot of the times we perpetuate how we were raised by our parents and then how they were raised. And we have to change that. And so this is what we also have to do in our schools, and change how we raise our children. And our schools is a big factor in how our children are raised, which is why I'm against police in the schools. We have to decriminalize our society, and we have to decriminalize our Black and brown children, because they are our targets. And if we have police in our schools, what kind of message are we sending to them? Police do not belong in our schools. We need counselors. We need relationships. So going back to my son, that's the relationship I've been building with him. And he's been part of this campaign, and we share every moment, every up and down I share with him. And he likes to be part of that, because he is a reason why I'm running, because him and all of our children of LA. So when I'm on that board, when I win, and hopefully I win,
Yeah.
I am going to be that parent. I'm going to be that mom. I will be the only parent with an LAUSD student, but I will be making decisions based on my heart and based on the love that I have for public education, but mostly the love I have for children.
You said you'd be the only parent of a LAUSD student?
Yes. I mean, Jackie does have nieces and nephews,
Mhm.
and her grandchildren are in LAUSD, but I will be the only actual parent with a child in
Mhm.
LAUSD. Yeah.
That's important. That's
Wow.
important. To be honest, that's the special interest right there. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
interest, right?
right?
That's a
Yeah.
stewardship. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, thank you so much, Dr. Rocio Rivas. We were really excited to have you on. I know your race is heating up. It's at its most intense point right now.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking the time to speak with us, and I'm really happy with how this turned out, and we'll try to get this video out as soon as possible.
Yes.
But thank you.
Yeah, I was so proud to vote for you. We mailed our ballots out just at the end of last week, and yeah, like I was looking the most forward to voting for you out of all the races. So yeah, just best of luck to you. But I'm so confident that you're gonna win, and I just cannot wait for you to be on the board.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for this opportunity to address some of those lies, because it's important for people to know. And it's funny, I have not received that. So those must be mailed on different parts of the city, because I have not received. I've received some calling me a bureaucrat, but not all of that. But I look forward to coming back again as a board member, and we can talk about what's going on in the district. And yeah, let's inform our community about the real issues on education, and let's empower them. So I welcome that opportunity again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You take care.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Okay.